Hello parents, Richard of Richard Primary School. We're at a point now where we've got all our plans set for children to return before the summer holidays. So over the last few days we've had a lot of questions from parents, so we hope to have a question and answer session now. Myself and Mr Richards are going to answer some questions that we've had through the telephone, via email and over Facebook, etc. So we've got about 12 questions to go through, so hopefully they'll be useful for you to organise your families for when your children come back. So we'll start. I think Mr Richards got the first questions.
Okay, the first question, I suppose, is the burning question. Do I have to send my child to school before the summer holidays? In other words, have you got to send them in for their catch-up check-in and prepare sessions for 2 days? Well, the answer to that is no. You haven't got to send your children in. There'll be no action taken. We will be recording the children as absent, but it's not going to affect anything. It's just so that we know for safety purposes whether children are in school or not. But the choice is down to families, and those choices will be respected. So the answer is no. The second question, which year groups will be visiting the school, obviously is the other one. I know we sort of hinted it before. It'll be for all children apart from our rising threes. So nursery will be in, as will reception, year 1, year 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and Mrs Miller's class as well.
Okay, another question, question 3. How will I know what days my children are coming into school? Well, the days your child will be coming to school will be communicated via a text message. We'll be sending a text message to your phone with the time that your child, or the day your child's to come to school. But if you want any other information, go to the website, and there's a letter I've put up explaining lots of the questions that we're going through now, especially the time to enter the school and to finish school, what gate to come through, because we're trying to stagger the pupils. How many days will my child attend school before the summer holidays? Well, all the schools in Bridgend County has been decided by the council that children will have 2 full days in school. That's 2 full days in school for children from nursery age up to year 6, excluding rising threes. Another question has come through is, if your child has a brother or sister in the school, will they be coming in together? Well, we've done our best, our very best, to timetable that children with brothers and sisters will come on the same days. We've done our best to organise that. I think it's over to you now, Mr Richards.
Okay, so one of the big questions is, how is it going to work in each year group? So I'll run through nursery, early years and through to the juniors, just logistically how we're going to manage it. So nursery children will enter as they usually do through the nursery entrance at 9:15, and they'll finish school at 3:30. There'll be no more than 11 pupils in the area, and the children will be split into 2 groups. So there'll be Mrs Harris and an LSO managing 2 groups of children. That's how it's going to work in the nursery, and they'll exit from the entrance as normal from the gate. In reception and year 1 and year 2, we've got staggered starts. Reception will come in for 9:15, same as nursery, and end the day at 3:30. Year 1 will start at 9 and finish at 3:15, with year 2 starting at 8:30 and finishing at 2:45. Again, there'll be a maximum of 5 learners for week 1 and 2 in each class, but that could go up to as high as 10 in the 3rd week. Okay, so that's how it's going to work in reception, year 1 and year 2. In years 3 to 6, there will be no more than 6 learners in the class for the first 2 weeks. We could go up to 10 per class, depending on how many turn up and come to school. The Year 3 children will use the doors at the rear of the school. The Year 4 children will use the blue junior entrance, as will Year 5 and 6. I think I did mention with reception, Year 1 and Year 2, they all enter via the main gate onto the infant's yard. The times for Year 3 are 8:30 to 2:45. The times for Year 4 is 9 till 3:15, and Years 5 and 6 are 8:30 to 2:45. Okay, and if you follow in the path, following the hearts into school, you'll see that the entrance to the blue doors takes a detour around the plants, but the exit comes straight out. That'll become more obvious when you come down into the school. Mrs. Muir's class will be a maximum of 3 pupils with 2 adults, and Mrs. Muir's class will be entering the blue door as well, Mr. Phillips?
The blue door as well.
In the blue door as well, and exiting at the blue door. Start and finish times in Mrs. Muir's class are...
Well, those are going to be communicated. There has been transport difficulties, but I know Mrs. Muir has been contacting, or will be contacting you via the telephone, just to finalise what's happening because of taxiing and so on. Okay, question number 7. Will there be breakfast club when the school reopens? And the answer is no. There's not going to be any breakfast club for any school in the county, Litchard including. There'll be no breakfast club to start the day. And what's happening at lunchtime was another question. Well, children who are eligible for free school meals will be having a hot lunch, and they'll be delivered to their classrooms. There will not be a canteen area because that could jeopardise social distancing, and we're trying to keep children in bubbles in their year groups. If your child doesn't have a free school meal, please will they bring a lunch box, their own lunch, packed lunch, and if they could take all their rubbish home then with them in their packed lunch and bring that home with them at the end of the day. Question number 8.
The next question, it's a good question I suppose, you know, will there be after school clubs? Unfortunately there won't be after school clubs. Obviously sports clubs and various other social clubs aren't open at the moment because of social distancing, and at school we'll be adhering to the same rules really, but the children will be getting plenty of exercise because we'll be utilising the fields most days, so children can get out and enjoy a kickabout sensibly, and we've got some resources designed to allow the children to have exercise without breaking social distancing rules.
Another question we've had is, will I get an annual report, end of year report for my child? Well, you will be getting one, probably on their second visit. We will give the report to your child. If they don't come to school, we'll get it to you via the post. The reports are going to be a bit shorter this year, but they're going to be very personal. It won't be generated as in previous years with computerised comments. We've had flexibility to write more personalised reports for this year, so hopefully they'll be of interest to you, and of course we'll be commenting up until they left school in mid-March.
Question 10 is regarding the emergency childcare hubs. They've started already at the school and will continue to run as they are at the moment. They start at 8:30 to 12:30 is the first session, and then 12:30 to 4:30. We've set up a junior hub in the junior hall. Entry there is in the white fire exit at the front of the school, not far from the blue doors. And you'll see there's a separate queuing system there. We put hearts to allow social distance queuing to go on there. We've got an infants hub then, or foundation phase hub. Parents register their children in the outdoor classroom behind Year 1, and then the early years children stay in there, whilst upper foundation phase, Year 1 and 2, go into the infant hall, and that will continue, but those children will get their days in classroom to catch up and check in on other days as well. Any applications for that continues to go through BCBC, and if you use their website you can apply then for a place in the emergency hub.
Okay, this is another question about the childcare hub. It's about, how do you sign in? Well, the same thing applies as when they went to Coity Primary. You have to sign in. A family member has to bring a child in, sign their name in, answer some questions about their general health, and then leave through the one-way system. One-way system through the school is that you come in, you enter at the entrance point by the Premier shop, and then all parents exit then the same ways as the vehicles do, through the exit path that takes you onto Hale Groes. So you follow the same line as the cars or vehicles on the site. That prevents people crossing over one another on a narrow path. So if you can follow that one-way system, that'll help us all at the school. Right, question number 12, which is probably one of the most important questions, and it's quite a lengthy answer in a way, is what is the school doing to make it safe for my child to attend? We've done a lot here at the school to make sure that children and staff are safe. So I suppose the first one is, if any child, or if your child is not well, don't bring them in. That doesn't mean not well because they're showing signs of COVID, or a family member is showing signs. It could be they're just physically just not very well. But if any member of the family is showing any signs of a cough, please keep your children at home. Another important thing is, can you make sure your contact details are up to date? Because if your child's not well, we need to contact you, we can do so quickly. If a child does become unwell, they will be isolated in the school and looked after by a member of staff, and we will phone you straight away to come and collect them. We've put a lot of hygiene measures in place at the school. Every classroom has hand sanitizer, and children are expected to wash their hands in antibacterial liquid a number of times through the day, and apply hand sanitizer, and staff are doing this as well. We are, wherever possible, adhering to the 2-metre rule. I mean, the Welsh Government does acknowledge that as children get younger, that's going to be quite difficult to maintain. That's why we're creating these bubbles in the year group. So if a child does become unwell, or a family member becomes unwell and is seen to be positive with COVID, at least we can inform a track and trace system and let people know if somebody does become unwell. Like I said, there's a one-way system. There's one-way systems being put in place around the school, and also there's a one-way system, as I explained, coming down from the Premier Inn and then exiting the same way as the vehicles do out onto Hale Groes. The back path will be shut. It's only the Pendrain Playgroup are using that. The back path will be shut, and nobody's to enter through the back entrance of the school. Like I said, there'll be protocols around walking around the corridors. If children are going against the arrow, they must give way to adults or children who are walking in the direction of the arrow, and we will be drilling that into children when they come in, and the staff as well. If you want to speak to the admin staff, only one person or family is allowed into the foyer area to speak to the admin. They won't be opening the glass screen, unfortunately. So if you could just bear with them as you're speaking through the glass. This is a very important point to note. It's about children wanting, or adults wanting, to go to the toilet at the beginning or at the end of the school day. We often have requests for children wanting to come in to use the toilet. Unfortunately, we're going to have to stop that for hygiene reasons. There won't be any re-entry into the school, so we'll try and make sure that the children go to the toilet before exiting, as they won't be allowed back in once they go collected from school. We've sorted out lunchtime, break times, entry times and exit times, so they're all staggered. So children are timetabled for break times on the yard and when they come in and exit the school, so we don't have large gatherings of people. We've worked hard at sorting out that timetable. In the classrooms, as you can see, we're sitting in Mrs. Miller's class. All classrooms have sparsely got very sparse furniture in them and resources. We've also got constant cleaning throughout the day. Lunchtime supervisors have been rerouted to come in during the day to clean toilets and to wipe high-touch surfaces. The school does use Bridgend County Borough cleaning services, and all their staff are highly trained in the processes now of cleaning to adhere to the guidance of COVID-19. So they've all had their COSH training, and they are cleaning in accordance with the latest safety guidelines. Please, could children wear clean clothes every day? That's important. We want them to be clean and fresh coming from home. And they don't need to bring any school equipment. So they don't need to bring their pencils and cases, pencil cases or any other equipment, because we've got it here for them. The less they bring, the better. All school equipment at the end of each day will be wiped down. Children's apparatus in foundation phase will be soaked in Milton overnight. Staff at the school have the choice whether to wear full PPE if necessary, especially if a child becomes ill or they need to have a change, perhaps if they have an accident in nursery or reception. They've got the full PPE to wear, which is disposed of, and you may see some teachers, support staff wearing masks, or you may even, if necessary, wear shields if necessary. But we've got the full PPE for staff here to keep them safe, and also keep the children safe as well by using it. That was question 12.
Okay, so question 13. Why are schools finishing in Bridgend County on the 17th of July? Well, the end date has been given to us by the director because there are some potential staffing issues going forward. So that there's unity, all schools will be closing on the 17th. It's been a big decision by the borough, we believe, but ultimately it won't affect your children's visits. All children will get in 2 visits anyway. It just means that the school is closing on the 17th. As it is, the juniors is due to have a new roof that week anyway, the week of the 20th. So in many respects, it's much better for Litchfield to be closing on the 17th rather than going the extra week that the Minister for Education talked about, because our school is going to be only half available then that week. So ultimately, for many reasons, Litchfield Primary School will close, like all the other schools in Bridgend, on the 17th of July.
Well, I hope that is a lot of information at once there, reiterating what's in the letter that's on the website and has been put on Facebook and is on Twitter and the Litchfield app. So we've reiterated a lot of what's in that letter through video, through questions that you've asked us over the last week or so. But I suppose the most important thing for you to recognise is that the most important thing is when your child comes to school, they are happy, they're safe and they're secure when they're in our care, and we'll do our utmost to look after them during this difficult time of reopening schools. If you've got any more questions, please send an email to admin.litchardprimary@bridgend.gov.uk or give us a call. So until our next update, we hope that you'll have your text from us knowing when your child attends school, and things, fingers crossed, will run smoothly because we're learning all the time.
So far, so good. See you next week.